Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining our Ask the Expert training session. Today, we're going to be discussing some SIP issues and software upgrades. We have Ian, who's part of Pixel River, our support agency, and Randy Marcotte of Perfect Video Conferencing.
Great.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks, Alex, for introducing the topics for today. And if you do have any questions, you can reach any of us at our main number at 516-282-2880. My direct line is 2812. Thank you for tuning in. If you need other content for one of these admin sessions, let us know. And as Alex said, we're really going to focus today on some of the messages that we've sent out to you around software upgrades, SIP infrastructure, and SIP spam calling specifically, and some of the security around that. And then at the end of this, we'll wrap up with how to best to contact our support in Lifesize and where are the differences between those. So we're going to turn it over to Ian in a moment, but I first wanted to walk through what happens at the user level when we get these SIP calls and talk a little bit about what the heck is this SIP thing and why is it even a hot topic in video conferencing. So if you've heard of SIP, great. If you haven't heard of SIP, great. But what's happening to you on your end unit is you may actually be getting these calls that randomly come in and make your video conferencing ring. And that's not a terrible thing, but unless you're in the room and you don't want it to ring, or if you're in a meeting and you don't want it to ring. And so there's some very standard low-tech things you can do, and some sort of under-the-hood things that Ian's going to show us in just a moment. But why is it happening is really the ultimate question. And that's because video conferencing and the vendors that use video conferencing, and it's all of us across the board, and many of the phone systems that are out there use this thing called SIP, Session Initiated Protocol. And the great thing about SIP is that it's easy to use. It's easy for us to use it as a communications protocol. It's easy for us to integrate with your short telephone system or whatever else you're using. But it's also easy for people who have malintent or who just want to be annoying to use it. And so what they've done is they've created these phone systems, these automated dialers that just dial IP addresses, listening for something to answer a SIP request. And once it does, it'll throw Polycom and Lifesize and Tandberg sort of answer and call, and any manufacturer's answer and call responses to the device. And if your Lifesize device has default passwords on it, your device will answer that SIP request. If you've then connected a phone line, they could, in theory, then use your phone line to call Oakland or Algeria or Kenya or the Philippines, wherever. And that's mostly what's happening is they're changing passwords and they're calling on your PBX and you're paying for it. The other thing that's happening and why you're likely calling us is because they're Autobots and they call all the time. And so here's a couple of things that people have done. Unplug the unit or power it down. Your Lifesize unit will actually behave really, really well. It'll go to sleep and not draw a lot of power. But you can actually unplug it. A number of our customers put these units on power strips, and it's as simple as one button, and the whole thing's done. But many of you want these things to be available without a power cycle and immediately on. And so there's also a Do Not Disturb button. If you're using the phone too, you can walk right over to it and hit Do Not Disturb. You can do that as well when you're not in a meeting, and I'll show that on one of the units in just a moment. And then you can also go into when you're in a call, you can enable a Do Not Disturb. And so I'll show that piece right now. I'm going to move over to my other camera. And pardon the shaking. I'm going to move that for a moment so you can actually see the home screen on this unit. When I'm in a call, let's wait till the camera adjusts, and we're going to get some cascading there. And that's only because I'm showing myself. I can go to the home screen.
It looks clear to me here, so I can see it.
Right. Pull up the call manager, and I did that by pressing the OK button. And I can enable Do Not Disturb. So in that hall of mirrors that you're getting to see, again, because I'm showing my camera on top of my camera, I can enable, for this particular call, a Do Not Disturb mode. Perfectly fine thing to do. I'm now in Do Not Disturb. I can always bring up, if I'm expecting another call, I can bring up that call manager and disable Do Not Disturb. So move the camera back over to where it belongs. And this is another unit that I have on the system. And what we can do on this one, go to the home menu. I can go to that system menu down here on the bottom right, bottom left, you're on the right. And once I've done that, there is a do not disturb option as well. So again, you can enable your own do not disturb just by moving the cursor down and do not disturb. If I log into the admin preferences, which I'll do now, and I'm just blocking it a little so I can stop the infrared on the other camera, I'll go in, and this is not a default password. The default is 225 or 1234. And pardon me while I put that preset back. Once I log in, I can go to communications. And disable SIP. I'd hit OK. And then look to, my fingers are a little off, look to disable SIP. You can see that I'm not registered, so I'm not using SIP on this one. So quickly, very easily, as an end user, with the admin password, you can go in at the device and turn off SIP. Ian, I'll hand it off to you to show how you do that more from the web UI, which is the cleaner way of doing it, and then wrap up this segment. So is now a good time? You want to go? I think you're muted, Ian.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. John's talking in my ear here. So basically, let me get this shared here.
There's another PC.
So on the older life size or the larger life size, you have to use Internet Explorer, and the icon units, you can use Google Chrome. But basically, in the address bar, you would navigate to the IP address of your life size unit, and you'll see pop-up blocker warning in Internet Explorer. You can either hit allow once, or if it's your life size, you go there a lot easy. You can hit always allow to whitelist that permanently. Let that load up here, and it's going to come into the login screen. So then you enter in your login password here, and then you get to the main menu of the life size control on the preferences screen. To disable SIP is pretty easy. It's just a matter of navigating to the communications menu, and then from that menu you navigate to SIP. It's a strict on-off control here. So basically all you're able to do is turn it on or turn it off. So under the enabled disabled, you would choose disabled, and then towards the bottom you'll see save changes. And that's pretty much that. That's it. It's just that easy to turn off SIP.
The downside of doing that on that particular unit is that because it was enabled, we're using this unit to then make video calls and then call out to a voice bridge so that you get to hear what we see. And it is a very common practice when we integrate these to your ShoreTel phone system. So the other way we would solve that problem in your environment, if you don't want to disable it, again, you can power off these units, but we can then go to your firewall and your network and create an allow or deny policy. So the ShoreTel system absolutely allow that, or any other phone system that speaks SIP, allow yours to talk to it, but only yours. And so you disallow everyone else. And that's kind of the biggest issue around security. But there is an SSH issue. So Ian, maybe you can talk to us about how you turn that off and why you would. I quite frankly don't even remember what SSH stands for. So maybe you can educate me and maybe someone else.
Well, SSH allows for a command line control of the life size unit. It's helpful if you don't have web access, but other than that, it's really designed for high-level maintenance. You're not going to be doing that as an end user. To turn on or turn off SSH, you would head to the preferences screen here, and from there you would hit on the security button and the general button. And then here you'll see a variety of options that you could turn on or turn off. SSH being enabled here, I'm going to turn that off to be disabled. and just as simple, you just click on Save Changes at the bottom. You can go through SSH to do a lot of powerful things in call control, but honestly, even with myself as a tech, I still need a cheat sheet to see the syntax of what you need to do on that. So it's definitely a lot easier and a lot more convenient to use the web interface.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Ian, for doing this. And if you have any questions about what's going on in this segment, give any of us a call. You can reach us at support@perfectvc.com. And otherwise, our main number again is 516-282-2880. Ian, I know you're going to need to drop out. I'll talk a little bit next about software upgrades and contacting support. But Ian, once again, thanks for your time. If there's anything else, we'll call you back. See you later, sir.
All right, great. Take care.
Thanks, Ian.
You're welcome. Bye.
Good.